Hi guys, and welcome back to another championship video. We're moving on to round 17 now. Quick recap on round 16, and we finally got two scores correct. We got Millwall beating Reading 1-0 and Peterborough and Huddersfield drawing 1-1. Let's hope we can get two again. Let's see what I've predicted. And starting off with Bournemouth versus Swansea. And Bournemouth's unbeaten run is over. They lost 2-1 to Preston, which I really did not see coming. But I'm sure they'll be able to get something out of this, as they've won pretty much every other game this season. They're doing very well. So let's see how they bounce back from their first defeat. Swansea, they beat Coventry 2-1 away. Coventry haven't lost a home game so far this season until then. So it's a very good win for Swansea. And they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, so they're in pretty good form. This one, I think it's going to be a tight game, to be honest, and I'm seeing a 1-1 draw. A big relegation battle now, and it's Barnsley versus Hull. Now Barnsley, they finally got that elusive second win of the season against Derby, 2-1. It was a great win for them, as if they'd have lost that, Derby would have went above them, and they didn't want to be bottom of the league this early after Derby having that points deduction. They're taking on Hull, who have lost 5 in a row, and the last 3 have all been 1-0. So I'm going to go for the same here. 1-0 Barnsley. Blues versus Reading next. And Blues, they've been in really good form. It's good to see, as I think we were playing some good football after the international break, but we've started getting the wins now. And a 3-0 win over Bristol City was great. Beating Swansea was great, as they have only lost 1 game out of their last 5. They've won the others, and we were the team to beat them. So we're doing really well at the moment. As for Reading, they've lost 4 in a row, and they haven't scored in their last 3. So I'm going to go Blues to win 2-0. Blackburn versus Sheffield United next, and Blackburn, they took an absolute thumping, didn't they, in the week, losing 7-0 to Fulham. Sheffield United, they drew 1-1 with Nottingham Forest. For some reason, I think Blackburn are going to win this, even after that 7-0 defeat. They've got Ben Brereton Diaz, and if you've got him in the team, at the moment, the way he's playing, he gets you goals. So I'm going to go Blackburn to win 2-1. Cardiff versus Huddersfield next. And Cardiff, they've lost 9 of their last 10 games. And the only time they didn't was that 3-3 draw with Stoke. So 1 point in 10 games is terrible. They did lose 1-0 to QPR in their last game, so at least they didn't concede a lot, but they still lost it. Huddersfield, they drew 1-1 with Peterborough away. And Huddersfield, they're still hanging up there. They are drawing a few games here and there, but they're still within touching distance of the playoffs, and they're still overperforming as far as I'm concerned. For this one, for some reason I can just see Cardiff getting a point, so 1-1. Coventry versus Bristol City next, and Coventry, as I said earlier, their home record's now gone. But at least there's no pressure on them now. They always felt that they had to keep it up. Now that it's gone, I feel like they can play a bit more comfortably. Swansea beat them 2-1. They're playing Bristol City, who just lost 3-0 to Blues, and they've lost 4 of their last 5. The only win was against Barnsley 3-2, which was quite tight, and it was Marcus Shop's last game. So I think that Coventry are going to win this one. I think it will be quite tight, as Bristol City do tend to be good away, but 2-1 Coventry. Luton versus Stoke now, and Luton, they beat Middlesbrough 3-1. Middlesbrough used to having 2-0 games recently. It was a 2-goal margin at least. Stoke, they hadn't won for a few games, but they just beat Blackpool 1-0. And Blackpool, they're up there, so it was a good win. Both teams in and around the playoffs. High scoring, I think, 2-2. Millwall versus Derby now. And Millwall, they beat Reading 1-0 in their last game. Derby, they obviously lost 2-1 to Barnsley in a very big game for them, and they'll be disappointed that they lost it because they really could have done with some points out of that. They haven't won in 6 and they've lost their last 2 in a row. I think that's going to be 3. Millwall to win 2-0. Forest versus Preston next, and Forest, they've drawn their last 2 games 1-1 and the last one was against Sheffield United. Preston, they somehow managed to beat Bournemouth 2-1, which was Bournemouth's first loss of the season, and they've won 2 games in a row. I think Forest are just going to draw this one, to be honest. So I'm going to go 1-1. Peterborough versus Fulham next, and Peterborough, they're decent at home. Last game, they drew 1-1 with Huddersfield. Fulham, they have won their last 5 and they've scored 20, conceded 1 in that time, which is ridiculous. They beat Blackburn 7-0 last time out. I think they're going to win here quite comfortably. 3-0 Fulham. West Brom versus Middlesbrough now. And West Brom, they're inconsistent. Their pattern is just win-loss constantly. They beat Hull 1-0, which fit the pattern, which means they should lose this game. However, they're playing Middlesbrough, who have lost 2 in a row. They lost their last one 3-1 to Luton, and they're poor, to be honest. They don't tend to beat anyone that's in a decent position. So, West Brom, 2-0. And finally, Blackpool versus QPR. Now, Blackpool, they'd won 3 in a row, but then they lost 1-0 to Stoke. QPR, they beat Cardiff 1-0. I think this is going to be a draw, so I'm going 1-1. And that's it. So those are my predictions for round 17 of the Championship. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and put your comments down in the predictions. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Championship content. Hopefully we can get 2 scores right this week and up the Blues.